At number 10 on the list, we have the removal of bounce pads. Once they were added into the game, it didn't take long for players to begin to adore them. They provided so many unique attributes that allowed for creators to produce some awesome content on them. One of the most notable genres of content that rose in popularity as a result of the bouncers was trick shotting. But that wasn't the only content that began to blow up. A lot of streamers began to build super elaborate traps using both damage traps and bouncer pads to trap noob players that weren't really good at the game, which always resulted in hilarious moments where they would embarrass the new players.
Come on over, buddy. No. You know you want to.
Why are you the way that you are? Game.
And eventually when Playground Mode came out, creators began to make custom game mode videos that utilized the bouncers. And let's not forget, bouncers gave players who could utilize them a whole new way to play the game. The best players could even outbuild their opponent and use the bouncers to knock the enemy into the storm, resulting in some awesome game-ending moments.
Are we in the zone?
I see him. He's at the very bottom. Oh my god, he sees me. Oh, he's gonna trap out the zone. He's gonna be trapped out the zone. Wait. I'm pushing him out. I'm pushing him out. I got him out. I got him out.
Yes, he jumped into the storm. Let's go.
I hit him out. The bouncers quickly became one of the best things ever put in Fortnite, which made it even more heartbreaking when they were removed at the start of Season 6. Epic Games faced a lot of community backlash, especially on social media like Twitter. Everybody loved the bouncers, even the pro players. This hurt a lot of Season 6 hype and turned a lot of players off to the changes that would be coming with the new season, and to this day, a lot of players are still talking about how much they miss the bounce pads and how they want them to come back. As a result, this earned the removal of the bounce pads the number 10 spot on this list. For our number 9 spot, we're gonna take a trip all the way back to Season 3. It was simpler times back then in Fortnite with a simpler map. Tilted Towers was still somewhat of a new addition to the game, and there was a ton of controversy surrounding that. However, number 9 doesn't have anything to do with Tilted Towers. At the time, Fortnite was hyping up its first ever game event. There were tons of meteorites flying through the sky, emergency signals appearing on the TVs all over the map, as well as telescopes and warning signs all over the place. The popular theory at the time was that a giant meteor was going to come and crash into Tilted Towers and destroy it, sending Fortnite back into the Stone Ages. This theory was backed up and supported by data miners who found giant dinosaur eggs hidden under the map and Epic's teasing of the Triceratops skin. However, at the turn of the season, many players were proven horribly wrong. Dusty Depot ended up being destroyed by the meteor that was supposed to hit Tilted Towers, and as a result, Dusty Depot was renamed to Dusty Divot, along with old factories that lied between Retail Row and Dusty Depot. At first, it was welcomed change. The Divot was made into a research facility and had crystals in it that gave players the ability to move in zero gravity.
Yeah, that's not me. One's on me. Got him. Oh, that's a team down. That's a team down. All right. Really weak. Oh, shoot. I'm getting shot with a shotgun. Got him. Get off of me. All right. Oh, yo, somebody on me. I hit him. Got him. Woo! Moon battles. Moon battles!
And it was unlike anything we had ever seen before. However, the Divot remained in the game ever since then, and it's begun to slow down the gameplay and frustrate players. It's turned the middle of the map into a no man's land, and by going into the Divot, you're pretty much asking to be attacked by multiple squads. The majority of the community has been begging for the return of the beloved factories, and for Dusty Depot to return, but as of now, Epic Games has not hinted to making any big changes to the Divot, landing this change at the number 9 spot on our list. Number 8 on our list has become a huge meme. As you know, every new season of Fortnite comes with a lot of new emotes and cosmetic items. One of the Battle Pass skins for Season 6 is called Calamity, and the skin best resembles a farm girl. Now, there's been a lot of controversy around female Fortnite skins because some of them have been a little provocative. Well, the Calamity skin is no exception. Epic Games caught a lot of flack from the online press over a glitch that occurs when the Calamity skin performs the Jubilation emote. As you can see, the physics of Calamity's body is a little too realistic, and this didn't go unnoticed. Articles attacking Epic Games and Fortnite began to spread like wildfire. People began to make reaction videos to this, and in addition, a bunch of memes about this went super viral on Twitter and other social medias like that.
On the beat, so twerk it, bitch.
In my opinion, people made a huge deal out of what was nothing. The bad press was so heavy that Epic Games had to issue an apology and patch the game. Regardless of my opinion on whether or not it was blown out of proportion, it's an undeniable fact that parents aren't going to allow their kids to play a game where these types of things occur. Landing the Calamity incident at number 8 on our list. Number 7 on our list is going to have to be the addition of the guided missile. This was added to Fortnite in patch 3.4 and was immediately met with a poor reception by the majority of the community. Due to the community backlash, Epic decided to remove the weapon from the game in patch 3.5. If you didn't play Fortnite back then, let me explain to you what the guided missile was and why everyone hated it so much. The guided missile was an RPG that could be controlled by a player. Originally, it came in both legendary and epic variants, which both did over 100 damage per bullet, which is enough to eliminate a player with no shield. It could also last up to 18 seconds in the air, which meant players could hide somewhere and control the rocket for up to 18 seconds at a time, and chances were that more than one player per game would be carrying the guided missile. To say the least, this weapon got pretty annoying very fast. Like many of the other instances on this list, Epic Games was quick to respond to the community outcry and vaulted the weapon very quickly. While they had it in the vault, they tweaked it a lot, and when it returned back into the game in Content Update 5.1 on July 31st, it was a lot more balanced. The new guided missile could only do up to 77 damage per shot, and could only stay in the air up to 15 seconds, and its maneuverability was decreased by 75%, meaning that a player could outmaneuver it as long as they didn't run in a straight line. This was a welcomed change, but regardless, they decided to vault the weapon again shortly after, and it hasn't returned to Battle Royale since. However, it does still remain in playground mode, and occasionally you will see YouTubers use it for funny moments in videos.
Where are they? Can I get you? Brother, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Say just anywhere I can jump. On the ground. I got you.
On the ground.
You're a god. Shotgun him, shotgun him, shotgun him.
Kill him out, kill him out, kill him out! Number 6 on our list. The damage trap was introduced in patch 1.6 of Fortnite Battle Royale, so it's been in the game since nearly the very beginning. Damage traps would do a solid 125 damage to any player that stepped onto one, meaning that at the start of the game, they'd be very viable. 125 damage is enough to kill a player who landed and hasn't found any shield yet, which made them very effective. However, back in May, Epic released Content Update 4.2, and in this patch, they nerfed the damage trap to only 75 damage, which isn't even enough to kill a player that doesn't have a shield on. This especially upset many professional players who used the traps to their advantage during build fights. Because of this update, traps no longer did enough damage to kill their enemies, making damage traps nearly obsolete. This update also hurt skill gap of the game and made it easier for bad players to survive situations in which they were outplayed. So a couple weeks later in early June, Epic Games realized their mistake and buffed the damage traps up to 150 damage and hasn't changed them since. Real quick, I have a challenge for you guys. If you can leave a like and subscribe in the next 5 seconds, you'll receive amazing luck for the next 2 years. Hope you did it in time, and let's get back into the video. Number 5 on our list. The stink bomb was added in the game in Content Update 4.4 back in June, and only comes in epic rarity. These things are incredibly annoying, and a player can carry up to 6 of them at one time. The way the stink bomb works is once it's thrown, it produces a big cloud of gas that damages any player inside the gas. While inside the gas, a player will take up to 5 damage per tick. So if a player carries up to 6 of these, and they throw all 6 onto another player, they will take 30 damage per tick. These grenades are known for heavily disrupting the flow of gameplay during build fights.
Okay. Dude! Dude! There's no way this kid has any more of that. Unbelievable. Unbelievable!
So as you can see, these grenades promote a playstyle that is super annoying to play against, and as a result, the stink bomb is one of the most annoying weapons ever added into the game. Now let's get into number 4 on our list. Recently, Epic Games decided to re-release the infamous Skull Trooper skin. If you aren't familiar with the skin, it was the rarest skin in the game prior to its re-release. It was released during Season 2 of Fortnite for the Halloween event back in 2017, so it took nearly an entire year before it returned to the item shop. Over the past year, skins and cosmetics have become extremely valuable. Skins in Fortnite have now become so hyped that there are dedicated YouTube channels that solely post daily item updates to the shop, and these channels get hundreds of thousands of views. Everybody now wants to make sure they're buying skins so that when a skin reaches a rare status, they can look cooler than everyone else because they have it. The Skull Trooper was the rarest skin in the game, and since that was re-released, all this did was upset the original owners of the Skull Trooper, and made the original variant super common. Epic did try to remedy the situation a bit by releasing multiple variants of the Skull Trooper, as well as the Skull Ranger, which is a female version of the Skull Trooper, but I don't think this is going to be enough to mend the damage done. They also released a version of the Skull Trooper that's purple, which was only given to players that own the original original Skull Trooper skin. Personally, I think it's kind of ugly, and I think Epic Games did this whole thing backwards. I feel like what they should have done was make the new Skull Trooper purple and left the original untouched. Regardless, now onto number 3 on the list. Number 3 on our list, ripping off Friday Fortnite. So before there were skirmishes happening nearly every other week, back when Fortnite competitive was non-existent, Keemstar made a push to hold a massive weekly tournament called Friday Fortnite. Creators of all sorts were invited to play in his tournament, which led to a lot of hype and free press for Epic Games. Everyone's favorite YouTubers would play in this tournament, even big guys such as Tfue, Ninja, and Nick30. Between all the streams happening from each creator streaming on their individual channel, Friday Fortnite would consistently pull in over 1 million viewers each event. These numbers are absolutely groundbreaking for gaming history. Sadly, nothing lasts forever, and eventually Fortnite themselves began to host their own tournaments also on Friday, which caused conflicting issues with Keemstar's tournament. Since Epic Games offered up $100 million in prize money this year alone, Keem decided to end his Fortnite tournament because he didn't want players to feel conflicted over which event they should compete at. Fortnite competitive is great, but the amount of hype that was generated from Friday Fortnite every week and the amount of promotion Epic Games was getting because of it is unmatched to the amount of exposure competitive Fortnite gets now. Yes, the Fortnite skirmishes do well, but Friday Fortnite was a blessing and it had a much broader reach than Epic Games has on their own. What they should have done is host their tournaments on a different day of the week, or maybe do tournaments every other week. This would give pro players and large creators with a lot of influence more chances to grow and chances to compete, as well as providing Fortnite more exposure to a broader audience. I can somewhat understand why Epic Games would want to shut down Keem's tournament because they don't want any serious competition. They likely wanted all the viewership and control to themselves. I just think in the long run, it would have worked out better for Keem, the community, and Epic Games if they had just let him continue his Friday Fortnite and they had done their tournaments on a different day. Regardless, this earned the number 3 spot on the list. To this day, number 2 on this list is a huge topic in the Fortnite community. The double pump is a mechanic that was nerfed back in Season 3 of Fortnite, and shotguns have never been the same since. Way back in the day, players could run multiple pump shotguns and switch between them without any shot delay. On top of that, shotguns could also eliminate an opponent with one shot, even if they had 100 health and 100 shield, as long as you got a headshot. This era of Fortnite was entirely dominated by shotguns, which allowed for some awesome moments like this.
On my face.
Ever since its initial nerf, shotguns have consistently been getting rebalanced. In the current meta of Fortnite, shotguns are not nearly as reliable as they once were. They've been completely over-nerfed. The issue with shotguns is they used to have the ability to one-shot players, and they could be swapped instantly with no delay between shots. Instead of nerfing the damage or nerfing the switch time between weapons, they nerfed both. Most players would agree that Fortnite was a lot more fun back before the nerf started rolling out for the shotguns, and I'd have to agree. There are very few feelings in the world that can compete with landing 200 plus damage shots on opponents with a pump, and we just can't get that anymore. But regardless, it is for the better. I just wish they didn't nerf both. And the last thing I want to add is that powerful and consistent shotguns can create a significant skill gap as well, rewarding players who are accurate and precise with one-shot eliminations. Next is the number 1 biggest mistake Epic Games made with Fortnite, but first I have a few honorable mentions. The first honorable mention is the addition of the jetpack. The jetpack was introduced back in May, and it was one of the worst counters to the build meta we've ever seen in Fortnite to this day. Not to mention that if you had the jetpack and an RPG, it was almost impossible to lose. If a player had a jetpack, they could float up to high ground faster than an enemy could build and maintain complete control over the fight. Not only did it allow for players to easily maintain that control, but it also allowed them to get up in the air and get better positioning without having to worry about using materials. I'm sure you might be thinking to yourself, well, they are flying around in the air, why don't you just shoot them? Well, the jetpack also had very fast maneuverability. It allowed players to move really quickly, and this made it really difficult to shoot someone out of the sky, especially if they had rockets or a light machine gun. Thankfully, the jetpack was removed and now only appears once in a while in the limited time game modes, but I still have nightmares about them to this day. The next honorable mention is the addition of C4. Coincidentally, the remote explosives were a huge counter to the build meta of Fortnite. They were similar to the grenades, where players could find stacks of 3 in a chest. However, they were way too strong when they were first introduced into Fortnite. Players who landed in tilted towers could completely level buildings with a stack of 3. Not to mention, if a player carried a full stack of 9 around, it became impossible to carry high high ground or build against them. The C4 went through a lot of nerfs and changes for a couple seasons while it was in the game, but eventually it got totally removed at the start of Season 6. The issue with cheap items like the C4 is they reduce the skill gap in Fortnite. If you think about it from a business perspective, it is smart. People will be more likely to play the game if they can get a few easy kills once in a while. So you can't really blame Epic for adding these into the game, but it does turn off a lot of loyal players who are dedicated and spend a lot of time to get better at the game instead of relying on cheap tactics such as the C4, jetpacks, etc. The last honorable mention is going to be the Grappler. I will admit that the Grappler is quite a bit of fun, but once again, it's just another no skill item that hurts the building meta of Fortnite. There isn't a single other game out there that utilizes a mechanic as unique as Fortnite's building system, and all the items that get introduced into the game as a direct counter to building is going to do nothing but hurt Fortnite's greatest strength. The Grappler was a pretty recent addition to Fortnite, and it's still in the game today. However, they have at least toned it down a bit by decreasing the amount of shots it can hold from 15 to 10. Though it can't be used as a weapon and is only a tool, it's most likely more powerful than a C4. You can take high ground over and over with it, and on top of that, you can do it with such speed and ease. It's most likely the most no-skill item ever added in Fortnite. In our number 1 spot, we have the biggest mistake that could have killed Fortnite at the start of Season 6. Epic Games is lucky that they have loyal players because they completely messed up big time with this one. Going into Season 6, data miners had found a code in the game indicating that a new consumable item was added that could possibly send players into an alternate dimension. Though this isn't exactly what the case was when it came out, this sent people into a total frenzy of excitement and debate over what exactly was coming into Season 6. Finally, Season 6 dropped and the Shadowstones were revealed. However, they weren't all that they were cracked up to be. For the first week or so of Season 6, the Shadowstones were completely disabled to the game due to a glitch. What exactly was the glitch that caused Fortnite to remove the most anticipated update of Season 6? Well, let me show you.
Woo! I'm running towards this guy, dude.
So what you just saw was the infinite invisibility glitch that occurred when players would use the stones. When this glitch occurred, players could keep all the benefits of using the stones, like the increased movement speed, while at the same time being able to use weapons to eliminate players, which you're not supposed to be able to do in shadow mode. But like I said, with this glitch, you could have all the benefits of shadow mode and have your weapon at the same time. So this glitch was very game breaking, and because of this, the Shadowstones were removed from the game at the start of Season 6, leaving players very disappointed and confused, and for that reason landed it at our number 1 spot. And with that out of the way, that concludes our list. Is there anything you think should have been on this list but didn't quite make it? Let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are brand new. Drop a like if you enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'm out of here. Peace.